My reading notes for The Fifth Agreement, A Practical Guide to Self-Mastery, a Toltec Wisdom Book. Part 2, The Power of Doubt. The Fifth Agreement, be skeptical, but learn to listen. Be skeptical because most of what you hear isn't true. You know that humans speak with symbols, and that symbols aren't the truth. But the second half of the agreement is learn to listen, and the reason is simple. When you learn to listen, you understand the meaning of the symbols that people are using. You understand their story, and the communication improves a lot. Be skeptical is masterful because it uses the power of doubt to discern the truth. Whenever you hear a message from yourself, or from another artist, simply ask, is it truth, or is it not truth? Is it reality or is it a virtual reality? The doubt takes you behind the symbols, and makes you responsible for every message you deliver and receive. You know that most of our knowledge isn't true, the whole symbology isn't true, so don't believe me, don't believe yourself, and don't believe anybody else. The truth doesn't need you to believe it, the truth simply is, and it survives whether you believe it or not. Lies need you to believe them. If you don't believe lies, they don't survive your skepticism, and they simply disappear. But skepticism can go in two directions. One way is to pretend to be skeptical because you think you're too smart to be gullible. Look at how intelligent I am. I don't believe in anything. This is not skepticism. To be skeptical is not to believe everything you hear, and you don't believe because it's not the truth. That's all. The way to be skeptical is just to be aware that the entire humanity believes in lies. Every artist distorts the truth, but you don't need to judge what somebody says, or call that person a liar. All of us tell lies in one way or another, and it's not because we want to lie. It's because of what we believe. It's because of the symbols we learned, and the way we are applying all of those symbols. People will come to you and tell you their personal story. They will tell you their point of view, what they believe is truth. But you won't judge if it's truth or if it's not truth. You don't have any judgment, but you do have respect. You listen to the way other people express their symbols, knowing that whatever they say is distorted by their beliefs. You know that what they are telling you is nothing but a story, and you know that because you can feel it. You just know, truth or fiction. You don't have to believe anyone's story. You don't have to form an opinion about what someone says. You don't have to express your own opinion. You don't have to agree or disagree. Just listen. The more impeccable a person is with the word, the clearer the message will be, but the words that come from another artist have nothing to do with you. You know that it's nothing personal. You already have the awareness that all artists live in their own dream, in their own world. In that world, whatever they perceive is truth for them. And it could be that it's absolutely true for the artists who are expressing their story, but it's not truth for you. The only truth for you is what you perceive in your world. With this awareness, there's nothing to prove to anyone. Listening is so important in communication. When you learn to listen, you know exactly what other people want. Once you know what they want, what you do with that information is up to you. You can react or not react, you can agree or disagree with what they say, and that depends on what you want. Just because other people want something, that doesn't mean you have to give them what they want. If you don't learn to listen, you will never understand what I am sharing with you right now. You will jump to conclusions, and react like it's your dream, when it's not your dream. I am only one half of the message, you are the other half. I am responsible for what I say, but I am not responsible for what you understand. You are responsible for what you understand. You are responsible for whatever you do with what you hear in your head, because you are the one who gives the meaning to every word that you hear. When I say don't believe yourself, oh my goodness, can you see the implication? Don't believe everything you learned. Not believing yourself is a huge advantage, because most of what you learned is not the truth. Use the power of doubt to challenge every message that you deliver to yourself. Is it really true that I'm ugly? Is it really true that I'm not good enough? Is this message real, or is it virtual? None of these messages come from truth, from life. They come from distortions in our knowledge. Can you see the consequences of believing yourself? Believing yourself is one of the worst things you can do because you've been telling yourself lies your whole life. Your personal dream may even be pure hell because believing in lies is how you create your own hell. If you're suffering, it's not because anybody is making you suffer. It's because you obey the tyrant that's ruling your head. When the tyrant obeys you, when there's no longer a judge or a victim in your mind, you won't be suffering any longer. Nobody judges you more than you judge yourself. But how can you escape from your own thoughts? If you're skeptical, if you don't believe yourself, if you don't believe anybody else, then none of these opinions can disturb you or throw you off your center. When you have control over your own symbology, you are always centered. You are always relaxed and calm, because the real you makes the choices in your life, not the symbols. If you understand the fifth agreement, you will see the reason why you don't need to believe what you can see. What you already know without words. The truth doesn't come with words. The truth is silent. It's something that you just know. It's something that you can feel without words, and it's called silent knowledge. Silent knowledge is what you know before you invest your faith in symbols. When you open yourself to the truth, and learn to listen, then all the symbols lose their value, and the only thing that remains is the truth. There's nothing to know. There's nothing to justify. What I'm sharing with you isn't easy to understand, and at the same time, it's so simple that it's obvious. In the end, you are going to realize that languages are symbols that are only true because you think they are, and if you put them aside, what remains? The truth. Once you realize that you create the whole symbology to communicate with your own kind, then you find out that the symbols are not really good or bad or right or wrong. You make them right or you make them wrong with your beliefs. When you go beyond symbols, what you find is a world of perfection where everyone and everything in creation is perfect. When you are educated by the dream of the planet, you have no choice. You learn so many lies. But maybe it's time to unlearn those lies, and relearn how to follow the truth by following your own heart. Unlearning, or what I call undomestication. When you take away the power of every symbol and bring it back to you, the whole dream is powerless. Once you recover all the power you invested in symbols, you don't believe every thought that comes into your head. You don't believe your own story. If you can understand other people's stories, and they can understand yours, then together you can create the most beautiful dream. But first you need to unlearn a lot, and the fifth agreement is another perfect tool for that. Be skeptical, but learn to listen and then make your choices. Be responsible for every choice you make in your life. This is your life, it's nobody else's life, and you will find that it's nobody else's business what you do with your life. The dream of the first attention. From my point of view, there are billions of humans walking around in this world who are dead, but they don't know they are dead. Yes, their bodies are alive, but they are dreaming without any awareness that they are dreaming, and this is what the Toltec call the dream of the first attention. The dream of the first attention is the dream that we create by using our attention for the very first time. This is what I also call the ordinary dream of the humans, or we can say that it's the dream of the victims, because we are victims of all the symbols that we create, we are victims of all the voices in our head, we are victims of all the superstitions and distortions in our knowledge. In the dream of the victims, where most people live, we are victimized by our religion, by our government, by our entire way of thinking and believing. When we are children, we cannot defend ourselves against all the lies that come with the whole tree of knowledge. As we said before, our parents, schools, religion, and our entire society hook our attention and introduce us to their opinions and beliefs. The adults who take care of us tell us their stories, and we go to school, and we hear more stories. We learn the story of our country. We learn about all the heroes, all the wars, all the human suffering. The adults can only teach us what they know. They cannot teach us what they don't know. Of course, all these symbols are not exactly the truth. The truth is behind the symbols. It's in the intent or the meaning of the symbols. Fear is king of the underworld, and it rules our world by creating the distortions in our knowledge. And what is the biggest fear in this world? Fear of the truth. Humans are afraid of the truth because we have learned to believe so many lies. By misusing the word, by taking everything personally, by distorting everything we perceive with assumptions, by gossiping and spreading emotional poison with the word. You can see yourself as a child being afraid of authority. You can also see adults being afraid of authority. Words spoken with authority become a powerful spell that affects other humans. Why? Because we believe those words. If we understand the power of symbology, we can see where the symbols are taking us. We can see it by the way we behave, by the interaction we have with everybody, but mainly with ourselves. We become possessed by an idea, by a belief, by a story. Sometimes it's anger that possesses us. Sometimes it's jealousy that possesses us. Sometimes it's love that possesses us. The symbols are competing for control of our attention, and in one way or another they're changing all the time. They're taking turns possessing us. The symbols are talking and talking inside our head. They never stop. The voice of knowledge wants to know what everything means. It can hardly wait to interpret everything that happens in our lives. It's telling us what to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to do it. In the dream of the first attention, the world we live in is just like a reality show, hosted by the voice of knowledge. And for sure we are always going to be right and everyone else is going to be wrong because we use everything that we know to justify everything in our show. With a whole tree of knowledge living in our head, we no longer perceive the truth. We only perceive our own knowledge. We only perceive lies. You see, when we talk to the snake in the tree of knowledge, we talk to a distorted reflection of ourselves. That snake in the tree of knowledge is who we are really so afraid of. The reflection appears to be an exact copy of what is real, but the image in the mirror is the opposite of what is real. Your right hand is your left hand in the mirror. The truth is always distorted by the reflection. When we are children, the mirrors around us hook our attention so we can see them. And what we see are distorted images of ourselves, according to their mood, according to the moment when those mirrors are reflecting to us, according to whatever belief system they are using to justify their perceptions. The humans around us tell us what they believe we are, but there isn't a clear mirror to reflect what we really are. All the mirrors are completely distorted. They project what they believe onto us, and almost everything they believe is a lie. Little by little, you become a copy of the outside dream. You copy everything you learn from everybody and everything around you. You copy not just beliefs but behavior, which means you copy not just what people say but what they do. You perceive the emotional state of the people around you, and you even copy that. You are not who you really are, because you have been possessed by that distorted image of you. And this may be a little difficult to understand, but all this time it has been you who possesses you. What is possessing you is the virtual you. It's what you think you are, it's what you believe you are, and that image of yourself becomes extremely powerful. All these years of practice have made you a master of pretending to be what you think you are. Awareness is the key to coming back to life, and it's one of the main masteries of the Toltec. Awareness takes you out of the dream of the first attention, into the dream of the second attention, where you rebel against all the lies that are ruling your head. You rebel, and the whole dream starts changing.